Okay, so once we have the second premolar luted down and cleaned up, I make sure I press it all the way down to the occlusal plane, just like the first one, and make sure the angulation is good, angulation of the teeth as far as the axial inclination and everything. So now that these are both down, we know that this buccal cusp is supposed to hang out a little bit above, about a ½ millimeter above the occlusal plane. So what I'll do is loosen that up a little bit, and then you can use one of two things. A lot of people like to use the discoid part of the cleidiscoid. This is about a ½ millimeter thick, so you can use whatever you like. And you just take it here and press it down and let it cool. Okay. Now, doing things this way can make a lot of things shift and move. So once you get that up a little bit, you want to make sure, number one, that your cusp is still on the line there, which it looks pretty good. And then we take a look here. Is it about? Yeah, it's about ½ millimeter up. That looks good. And the next thing we want to do is check the angulation of the tooth. And some of this wax got on the facial surface of the tooth, and it's making it look a little bit tilted. So before I go moving the tooth, because remember, if you move it once, move it in one direction, it's going to move the other directions too. So I'm going to check the angulation of the tooth to make sure it's right, and then I'm also going to check the facial view to make sure everything's flowing really well. And it looks pretty good from here. Another very, very important thing that we want to make sure is that the marginal ridges are the central fossa. You want to make sure they're lined up, but you also want to make sure these marginal ridges are lined up. And one of the great tools for that is the wax spatula. This tip here can be placed right in the middle of the marginal ridge to get them lined up. And you got to be careful when you do this, because remember, like I said, if you move a tooth in one direction, it's going to move, all the others. And I don't like the angulation of this tooth this way, or the rotation of the tooth. So I'm going to move it just a tiny bit and check it. So I can see that these marginal ridges are lined up, and remember that cusp tips are going to be fitting in here, and they're going to be sliding in excursives. So you want to make sure that these are lined up, because not having these lined up will affect your centrics, your excursives, and everything like that. So now these are lined up. I have that good. I like the rotation a little bit better on that tooth now. I'm going to go back and double check, make sure I didn't screw up everything else. So I still have that buccal cusp raised up a little bit. The lingual cusp is still on the line, so we're good. Now we're ready to move on to the first molar.